This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts.
Hi, I'm Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Asmodeus. I use they, them pronouns.
And welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
For those of you who are new or just joining us, we are a queer podcast
Pun intended.
that talks about cannabis,
The LGBT community.
and everything in between.
And beyond.
So welcome.
Welcome.
So, another round of our 2-week schedule. I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing or not, but it's definitely helping me with like all the doctor's appointments and everything I'm having to go on.
Yeah.
So we do appreciate you guys' wait on that and everything and dealing with us while we're dealing with this weird schedule for now. That being said, I have some good news before we go to the review.
Good news, everyone.
Smoking Out the Closet for the third year in a row is going to be the podcast sponsor for the Pittsburgh Cannabis Festival. So for those of you who don't know what the Pittsburgh Cannabis Festival, this is your first time hearing about the Pittsburgh Cannabis Festival, we would like to welcome you.
And tell you everything about it and why it's important that we're going to be there.
So the Pittsburgh Cannabis Festival this year is actually starting out a lot sooner than getting things. Last year it was kind of a quick, hastily put together thing because the some newer people, jobs weren't explained well. There was a big miscommunication. But thankfully this year, KCRA, a cannabis review group, is actually doing a lot of the lead work for the event itself. And they have already announced it, I want to say near the end, like a little around 420, actually. And I jumped on the ball. I was like, great, I was about to email you guys anyway. So
Let's do this.
So let's do this. So we got the contract and everything. It's going to be August 11th at the Allegheny Commons West Park. So if you don't know, or if you're not super familiar where that park is, if you know where the Pittsburgh Aviary is.
Literally right behind there.
Yeah, literally right behind it.
Right behind there.
So it's August 11th from noon to 5, I believe, if I recall correctly. We'll have a little bumper once everything's 100% squared away, but we'll start having bumpers.
When I get some more information, I'll write like a press release for us and put bumpers in with our ad placements and things and put some stuff on the socials or whatever, you know.
But yeah, definitely check us out because we're going to be there. It's a great time. You can, talk to like grower processors and talk about how they do things, talk about their products. Some of them will actually kind of give you sneak peeks of products. Like last year with Grassroots, the Select Brick Disposable was kind of like previewed at last year's Cannabis Festival event.
Yeah. And we got to see, like, they had the display models, and we got to see, like, oh yeah, this is going to be a 2-gram disposable. At that point, was like, what? They're the first ones in PA to do it, and we got to see it, and I was like, there's no way this is actually going to be a thing, right? And they're talking about it, because sometimes there's things that they talk about that don't get off. But, yeah, that was pretty cool to see early.
Yeah, and it's really cool. There's a lot of good food trucks. There's a lot of good performances. One of my former drag queens I used to perform with from State College, Hexa, was DJing there, which if you ever hear Hexa's like skills as a DJ, they're freaking bangers.
It is awesome. There's also a lot of cool like local glass shops that come in, keeping it glassies there.
Curated Flame.
Those two, the two big ones in Pittsburgh are out there. It's a great time.
Yeah, I think the Pittsburgh Smoke Shop's also going to be there. They're a pretty good big glass shop as well.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, definitely check them out. It's going to be a cool event. We're going to have a lot of like heads ups and everything, but we're telling you guys this early. So if you guys want to come see us, we're going to be live for a little bit of that performance. We may post it online. We're going to be probably live on YouTube just because that's the most easiest way for us. But do be warned, there are helicopters because we are right by a hospital. So we may not put it online, but on everything but YouTube.
Yeah, we may not be able to like publish and save the audio because we are beside the Allegheny General Hospital right there, and that is a very heavily trafficked hospital. Like that is where when people get life flighted to Pittsburgh, that is where people go. Yeah,
so it kind of depends on where we are, but we're definitely going to go live for a little bit of it at least.
Yeah. Maybe I love doing my Instagram live. The other year I just walked around, was hitting my vaporizer and just like walking and shit.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It's definitely a cool event, so Let's get into the review because I just got this. Speaking of big disposables, so I got the Strane Cherry Chew Live Terpene Distillate 1 gram disposable, and you've been hitting it non-freaking stop.
It's so nice. I like these. When we first got them at my store as the sample, oh my gosh, I think I got the Fruit Gushers. So nice. It had I had the one that has a yellow body. This is a black body disposable. I think maybe it was like we were talking maybe the Gen 1 hardware and the Gen 2 hardware. This one this time around definitely has a really nicer airflow to it. The first one seemed a little loose, a little cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Too much airflow. This one is really nice. It pulls well. Like,
I will say I'm actually the reason why it's not having good airflow because of this little notch on the bottom where you put in your charger. I keep trying to put my finger in.
And then you don't get anything?
Yeah, and I'm not hitting it, so I feel it like getting stuck. And I'm like, why is it getting stuck? And they're like, oh.
Did they tell you about all the fun features about this?
No, but I have figured out some of it. Like, it's actually a downward arrow funnel shape. So it actually uses all the stuff before it hits the wick. Mm-hmm. It is actually really nicely like designed so you can actually see exactly where you're like completely out or not. What other stuff?
Okay, so we talked briefly, this hole in the bottom, right? That's your airflow.
Yeah.
This does the same thing that little battery you used to have does. So watch this.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because we know we're audio only. I mean, I blew through the bottom of the disposable, and there was vape that came out the top. You can shotgun it with somebody if it gets clogged, which these have never gotten clogged for me. Went through a whole 1 gram, never clogged.
Shotgun.
But mostly shotgunning. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and then it charges with a USB-C. So everybody, it seems like, has been moving to these.
Yeah, I mean, USB-C has been getting universal. I mean, Apple's been forced to do it thanks to the European Union.
Good.
So, I mean...
Fuck your stupid-ass lightning cable. I hate those.
That was my 1 puff.
Oh,
I'm allowed 2 puffs, thank you. 2 puffs, then pass.
Puff, pass.
But yeah, let me go on Terps here. So it has 84.382% THC, half a percentage of THCV, and then 2.37 CBG. So it's really great. Got really great cannabinoids in it. Terpenes highest ones are limonene at 2.144, followed by caryophyllene at 0.912. And then we got myrcene at 0.76, and then everything's like a half percentage or lower, but still, it's not really bad. I mean, it's got almost 8% total terps in it. And for something distillate, that's really good.
Strane's distillate comes out on top.
It does.
Every single time. And everyone's like, oh, I don't know if I want a distillate cart. And I'm like, you want a Strane cartridge. It doesn't matter what cartridge it is, a Strane cartridge. Because even their distillate tastes great.
Do you want to look up how much it is?
Yeah. Can I also say something real quick? Their branding is always on point. And they've been talking about it recently. I've heard they might be going to different branding. And I'm actually going to be upset. Because I like these little eyeball guys.
Yeah, the eyeballs are like really good for like, you know, indicas like closed, hybrids like half open, and sativas fully awake. The problem I have with it is and I hate using the whole indica sativa hybrid method. Because of the whole, it's more the terpenes, the cannabinoids, because someone got a prime example, Cresco with Girl Scout cookies labeled as sativa, but that thing lately has been having like 4% myrcene, and someone ordered it and it said, why'd you give that to me? It made me sleepy. I'm like, yeah, I tried telling you it was high in myrcene and you didn't want to hear it. But honestly, I really like this little guy. It definitely reminds me of like an Enjoy almost. Not as like wide, it's more like evenly spaced the entire way.
Okay, at my store for our live terpene distillate disposables, 1 gram from Strane, they are $55. That's a live terpene.
Yeah,
this is just a regular distillate vape.
No, this is live terp.
Oh, that's the live terp.
This is live terp we're reviewing.
Okay, I was gonna say because I didn't know. Do they have both, or do they only have the live terp?
I think they only have live right now.
Ooh, we have a Pineapple Express.
That sounds about right. I think it's either 55 or 45 at my store. I can't remember.
I was saying my store is sometimes a little bit more expensive on Strane. Wow, awesome meme. Hold the phone. Can I talk about this real quick? This Pineapple Express Strane disposable, since we're talking about their disposables, I have at my store. It has a percent of limonene. It has 3.6 awesome meme. And
That's really good.
0.84 terpenoline. I don't need it. I don't have my card right now. I'm in the middle of my cards. Got my new one, and I'm waiting for my new one in the mail.
I give this a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 as well. I love these. I was excited for them whenever they came out. They're solid. They also fit in your pocket well.
They do, and it's not like super. I'm not afraid of it getting clogged or leaking or anything, because like the oil is super slow to move in this, and I'm guessing it's just the way they've made it. It's just one thing I wish it was a lot easier to hold in your mouth with just your mouth. Like a lot of other disposables, like Standard Farms disposable was really great when they had them.
Because those ones were just flat.
Yeah, they were just flat. They were like a jewel almost, and I could just like if I needed to if I was in the middle of hitting it and I needed something to like do, and I needed both my hands to do something really fast, I could just hold it in my mouth like a cigarette. This is really hard to do.
I did hear that they are thinking about going to some hardware more like that. That is more like a jewel instead of the oblong-y, oval-y kind of hardware they have now.
Honestly, they just need to, if that's a big thing they want to cater to, just make the mouthpiece a little longer and like taper to a flat piece, almost like a cigarello almost.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. But yeah, you gave it a 4 out of 5?
I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really like it. I love that Strane has disposables now. I've been waiting on that, actually, because I was thinking, well, maybe, disposables, they'll be a little bit cheaper. They'll come down in price. I will hope that they make a half-gram disposable. They don't need to make a third of a gram disposable. That's just kind of silly for Strane, if I'm being completely honest. They don't seem to have any plans, though. I haven't heard anything about any half grams. But
I haven't heard much either, but like the 0.3 dispos are kind of annoying, in my opinion.
You go through them in a whole day. I mean, I feel like they even go faster.
But also, like, I'm not a huge fan of disposables just because of like how it is like one of the least green things we have in the industry.
Yeah, the impact on the environment is it's not worth the benefits of the medication, in my opinion.
So definitely a good product. If you're into disposables, get it. But definitely if they have like the cartridges of this after you find that this is really good. I mean, it's good for like travel and stuff. You don't have to worry about like having a battery and everything. But like, still, I'm not a huge fan of disposables personally. But I try not letting that affect the review.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add before we move on?
I don't think so.
Okay. So last episode, we talked about 420 a little bit. But we really didn't talk about like how things were for us as employees working 420, other than it was busy. And I know while we were over breakfast, you wanted to talk a little bit about your experience at 420.
Yeah, because I was like, do we even really get to talk about it a whole lot? We just mentioned briefly, oh yeah, God, the store was busy. That's 420, right? Just kind of like asking somebody in retail, how was Black Friday? Just about as well as you think. Like, it's busy, right?
Yeah. But we also had like some really big topics to talk about between like Tava and then the cast review. So
the 420 rush wasn't really the most thing in the spotlight at that time.
Yeah.
But it was, oh my God, at one point we had an hour-long wait for my fucking store. Because it was nuts. There were so many online orders in the morning. We didn't have enough people there to fill them. And like, it's just, our shelves were just empty all the time. Everything was just empty. When you would go to fill an order, you might be lucky if you got 2 out of all of the items that were on the order in the bag.
What was y'all's sale that day?
Oh God, what did we even do?
And did you have like a doorbuster or anything, or like merch?
We had merch. Yeah, we were handing out merch pretty much all day until it ran out, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were giving away bags and shirts and hats and lanyards and stickers. And we had a thing where like if you bought an eighth, you would get this, or if you bought an in-house cart, you'd get this other thing, or if you spend a minimum of $120, I think it was, you would get a tote bag and a sticker. But I want to say we did 50,000.
Ooh.
50? Yeah, I want to say it was 50 because we did 48 last year, and we were up at least 5% from last year. So I want to say it was 50 or 52,000. We still didn't do nearly as good as we could have because that was with an hour-long wait. Can you imagine if we had all of our shelves and shit stocked? We could easily have done like 75. I'm not even going to kid you because there were people who walked out because it was just so packed.
Yeah, but that's 420. It's usually packed.
Yeah.
Okay, so my 420 was really different this year. The first half of the day was just busy, go, 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 but we had a pretty decent flow of keeping everybody going, and we were very well staffed. But I think our normal hours on the weekends affected 420 because 420 was, a Sunday or a Saturday this year?
It was a Saturday this year. It's going to be a Sunday next year.
Yeah, that's right, because it's going to be on Easter next year.
Oh my God.
Hee
Stoner zombie Jesus.
But yeah, so it was on Saturday, and we normally close at 6 on Saturdays at my store. So literally, as it got closer and closer to 6 o'clock, it started getting deader and deader and deader. And like, I ended up getting cut early, and I'm thankful for it because there was a bunch of traffic downtown.
Yeah,
because I think there was a Pirates game or something going on. But yeah, it was very weird. Like, we still made a decent, I don't know how much, but we made a decent amount of money. We did a lot of sales. We had like a shirt that you can get as part of a doorbuster, and then we had like little scratch off tickets that you can get like one of 4 coupons, and they don't expire till the end of Pride Month.
Ooh.
So yeah, so that was a really cool thing. And we're still getting a bunch of them in too right now.
You want to know something funny?
Huh.
They hid our boxes of t-shirts from us. Because they gave us t-shirts they were in store like for the employee tie-dye shirts for 420, right?
Yeah.
The ones you've seen me wear.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the brand.
Yeah.
But like the in-store shirts they gave us, and we started giving them away to patients because we had so fucking many, right? They gave us so many larges, and we had so many extra shirts, and like we only maybe have, I would say maybe 14 people. That's a generous estimate of people who work in my store. Maybe 14. But we literally had like 50 shirts, and then they went back into the IT room. So I don't know whether it was just because we needed room on the floor and we were running out of space. That's what I heard the excuse was, but I think it was like, were we giving away too many shirts?
Maybe.
Like, we've been so slow. We've been in the 420 hangover for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We gotta do something for these people who do come in who missed 420.
Yeah, the 420 drought was real.
Oh, it's still going. I mean, my Friday yesterday, not yesterday, this is Sunday. What fucking day? Yeah, 2 days ago. Friday, payday Friday. That was nice. It was steady. It got a little busy. My Saturday was kind of bleh, but...
I mean, I got an email yesterday, because it was my first day off, saying that the 420 drought was over.
Yeah.
Because we got pretty busy the last few days. Like, my last two shifts, so the way we justify keeping everybody there is everybody that's on the sales floor, not drive-through, sales floor who's not an AIC or like a shift supervisor or up, just like regular bud tender cannabis advisor level.
Yeah.
Each of the drawers they're ringing on has to be $2,000 of profit. So we have to make $2,000 in sales.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't hit that, and we don't think we're going to hit that, that's when we start cutting people. We've just been barely squeaking by on that. Still on the green, still, kind of justifying keeping the lights on, keeping everybody there.
Yeah.
But that's the way we do it. And it's just been kind of plateaued. But apparently yesterday, we just were well over, like backed over 10K. It was Senior Saturday, but still, it was like really, really busy apparently yesterday. But I mean, I don't blame it because every time there's a 420, everybody either goes to their go-to dispensary and stocks up a lot, or they go to multiple dispensaries and kind of like dispensary bounce and get the best deals they can.
Yeah, so for a couple weeks, you're not going to have anybody anywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's stocked up and everybody's out of money. That's what I've been telling people. It's like, oh, how's it been? Slow. It's like, yeah, everybody's stocked up and out of money.
But also, it's the start of summer, and things in Pittsburgh slow down in summer because everybody goes to like Ocean City, they go out to like the Midwest, they go to Erie, they go on vacation.
Everybody goes out and does something.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh as a whole kind of slows down.
Holy shit! Yesterday, going into work. Speaking about slowing down, Saturday mornings when I go in to open my store, I have to be in there. I go through the city, and I have to be out there at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I leave here at Dormont at 7 o'clock in the morning, which usually there's a little bit of people, right? There's people going to work, there's people going to school, but it's a Saturday, so nobody's really doing that.
Yeah.
But I go through town, right?
Yeah.
There are only 2 other cars in the Liberty Tunnel with me.
What?
At 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
What?
That's slow, but like that is ghost town. That was liminal.
That okay, to put this in perspective, that's like going to a college town during the summer session.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only the locals there and maybe like a handful of students.
Yeah. There, because Saturday mornings, I'm like, okay, it takes me like 35 minutes to get to work sometimes. And that's like generous. That's given time for there's road construction or an asshole in like one of the roads, right? I got there in like 25 minutes.
Jeez.
I mean, I was also speeding, but that's just how I drive.
Yeah.
But there was nobody. It was empty. I came through the other side of the tunnel and I was like, fuck. Nobody. All green lights. Didn't have to wait to get on or merge or off ramps, nothing.
Well, I mean, that's good in a way, but also kind of bad in a way because that slows down for business here.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, also, it's nice. It's been nice out a lot lately. Like, it has been, like, yesterday was the first day it started raining for a bit. Like, it's been nice weather. We've had some warm weather finally that have been continuously warm.
Yeah.
You know, everyone wants to be outside doing stuff. And maybe downtown itself was a little better than, like, the outskirts, like, where we live. Because, like, we're still the Pittsburgh area. But
yeah,
like,
we technically are still in the borough of Pittsburgh. Like, we're within city limits of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
But where I work is not, and it's weird because those people refer to Pittsburgh as being a completely separate entity. But the thing is, where my store is located, it's beside, it's in a plaza. So it's where there's a lot of other grocery stores. There's when people go out for lunch or whenever, people come to my store, then they go and get lunch. But we're in a good area for that. So we're an errand store, right? But that also sucks because we have a lot of people that are like, hey, come on, I have to go to like doctor's appointments. I got to go and like get my groceries. I'm waiting on something. Like,
but like
dropping kids off.
But my store is like that too. We're right by a mall. We're right by like a bunch of big name restaurants. We're right by a fucking IKEA.
So that I feel like is what keeps us a little busier than other places because like of where we are.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I bet you anything. Those ones up there in Cranberry, the one in specific I'm thinking of, has probably been so dead.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because there are office buildings. That's all that's
that
there.
corporate center. I know which one you're talking about.
There's only office buildings.
Okay. So here's my thing though. So did I talk about HB 2210 on this podcast?
Sounds familiar, maybe.
The one that its current bill measure to allow like home grow and recreational and people getting their guns. Yes, we can talk about this.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, short-term memory is not the greatest, even before the weed's involved. Brain injuries, don't get them.
SSRIs make you happy, but also fuck with your short-term memory. So I'm also right there on the same page with you.
When it does go rec in Pennsylvania, the thing is, my dispensary is the closest one to the Pittsburgh International Airport. So if we're gonna get weed tourists in the Pittsburgh area, we're gonna be demolished.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger store. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Honestly, our store's pretty big.
Yeah,
as it is. I think we're just probably gonna need more people. Like we're gonna need like 420 staff pretty frequently, at least the first few months, because it's going to be busy, and then it's going to like kind of plateau and slow down and everything as people discover more. But like, if there's someone that's flying in from like, I don't know, like the Midwest, and like, oh, I'm visiting family in Pittsburgh, I want some legal weed. Google dispensary by airport.
You will pop up.
Yeah, we're like one of two that will pop up. And I think ours is technically more convenient to get to because the other one is really weird in this really weird shopping plaza that if you blink, you miss it. We're kind of like, hey, we're over here. Hello. But yeah, no, it's definitely something. And like, I hope the bill passed, but with the current stuff, which we could talk about after the break, because we're getting close to that. With the stuff with the potential of schedule changes with the DEA, I don't know how the House bill is going to, like 2210 is going to be affected or anything like that. But honestly, we got some time. I'll talk about how I feel about the DEA's thing. So the DEA is proposing a change with the scheduling of cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Now, this will give MSOs the ability to do tax write-offs with a 2080E, I believe, tax cut.
Yeah.
But here's my... they would have to have, like, a pharmacist on staff, and it's dependent on each state's, like, pharmaceutical board for the state of how it's going to work and everything. But states like Ohio, whose medical program was already controlled by a pharmaceutical board, nothing's going to happen. But also in the same boat, nothing's really going to change. Like, other than maybe CVS can start selling weed-based products or weed-infused products.
I was talking about this at work, and people were like, oh my God. And I'm like, no, listen. Before you get upset, they're not going to be able to do... They're like, well, what's that going to mean for us? I'm like, that's not going to change anything for us, because they're going to be able to sell, like, RSO capsules. The Boost tablets are going to be able to be sold at CVS. Like... and it's like, well, then who can write you a prescription? I'm like, anyone.
Yeah, any doctor.
Any doctor that can write Schedule 3 prescriptions can get you a prescription for RSO. They can get you the Boost tablets. They can get you the sleep tablets. Well, did you see those? Speaking of which,
yeah,
I want to try those.
Yeah, but but here's the thing also, it's like in recreational states or states that were medical that went to rec only, It's not going to change shit.
No.
And because everyone's like, unless they want the tax write-offs and all they have to do is just add a on-staff pharmacist like it was for medical only, that's it. That's all that's going to change, and they're going to get tax breaks. But literally nothing else is going to change because it's still Schedule 3, so the government still can shut down any of this like they were with it being Schedule 1. But that's the thing. It's for states that already have medical programs, it's not going to change anything. Because of the Obama administration basically putting in ruling that the states are going to do what they're going to do, and the DEA is not going to do shit to it.
I heard somebody say, well, it might make dispensaries have to act more like pharmacies. I'm like, what does that mean? I mean, we already do act like pharmacies.
Yeah, we really do, especially here in PA.
I mean, it's not like it's a chill pharmacy. That's what it is. Yeah. It's like the chillest pharmacy you could go into, because it's like we still have to put your labels on. We still have to make sure everything's tracked. But like, you're still gonna ask if you have any questions for the pharmacist or if you need to talk to anybody. But it's not like we're gonna ask you about your day. We're gonna like talk to you and be able to connect you. I feel like more than like, hey, here's your
and
whatever.
And here's the thing too. It's going to give states like Texas and the Midwest the ability to basically say, hey, you can now get medical marijuana. You go to a store, you go to a pharmacist, and you go to like states that don't have medical programs like we do here in Pennsylvania.
And it will give them
the ability to get access. That's all it's really changing besides tax stuff. That's it. So... don't listen to the TikToks that say, things are going to change, things are going to get worse. Just chill. Nothing's really changing. It's just a small baby step, but nothing's really going to change because we're just going to keep doing what we're already fucking doing.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add before we go on the break?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. We'll be back after a quick message from our affiliate program. Pretty in Pink and purely wood pulp derived, Blazy Susan Pink rolling papers and cones will add a pop of color to your next smoke sesh. Their classic pink papers are naturally dyed, vegan, GMO-free, and food safe. They contain no amounts of heavy metals or pesticides unlike other paper producers. Care about what goes in your lungs with Blazy Susan papers and cones. Use promo code BGSOTC20 at checkout to get 20% off. with your friends at Smoking Out the Closet. Plus, get free shipping on orders over $50 in the United States. Alrighty, and we are back. Is there anything you want to add to the DEA rescheduling thing we were talking about before we went on break?
No, I don't think so. I think I said what I needed to.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about really fast, just a quick little blurb. So Pride Month is next month. Everyone's getting ready for it. All the corporations are going to temporarily change their logos to rainbow colors.
But most of them only in the states that it is. The states are the areas that it is legally allowed because it's corporate allyship. It's not true allyship. It is
100%
rainbow capitalism.
But for those who are constantly seeing, and I've talked about this on the podcast a little bit before, but for everybody that is saying, like, oh, veterans in the military only get, like, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and this month is Military Appreciation Month. It is the whole month. Memorial Day does fall into it. But the entire month of May is Military Appreciation Month. So, use that as a counter, because people who actually care about veterans know this crap, but the people who are just using it as an excuse to be assholes and bigots to the LGBT community, you need to be put in their place a little bit. Also, there are queer veterans. There have been queer veterans literally since the colonial days and the United States Revolution against England. There has been queer veterans. Literally, one guy who helped make the manual that the Army still uses today, that was like 1/3 of that. Frederick von Wilhelm Steuben or something like that. I can't remember. I don't have his name written in front of me. But yeah, he was the instrument of one of the people who was very big in forming the basics of what the Army uses today, even still. And he was a very openly gay man. So let's just let the bigotry die, please. Thank you. You wanted to talk about what's coming up here potentially also in a couple months for you with Ohio.
So Ohio, as we have talked before, has already passed their adult use bill. And they've been slowly enacting and putting things in place to allow dispensaries to open up that are medical only right now to be adult use as well. And I was talking to, I can't remember exactly what his title is, one of the corporate guys of my store. And he said that they're going out there in July to open up our stores into recreational. And at this point, I saw an article. I have the article still pulled up, that actually talks about how Ohio is looking at June for everything to be all set up and ready to go with their adult use to like actually sell, right? Like they are actually going to be able to open market on adult use in June.
Yeah.
And then July is when our stores are going to convert over. And I was like, hey, I live in Pittsburgh. I am very close. I'm about 30 minutes from Ohio, depending on our closest location. Sign me up. And he was like, really? We're looking for people? And I'm like, yeah.
No, they do
Go
that,
for it.
They do that with our company. Like a couple of people from my store, when Maryland went recreational, they went down towards the Baltimore area and worked a couple of weeks down there.
I see no downsides other than I'm going to miss the fuck out of you.
I know.
I'll come home when I'm off because I'll be close enough.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to put me up or they're going to pay for my mileage and like I get to work in a rec state, I'm going to make hella tips. They're probably going to pay me more because I have experience. They're going to pay me to help open the store. Like, I'm hoping these are the things I'm going to try to negotiate with them to go out there.
Mm-hmm.
These are the terms on which I'm going to go out. Is what we're going to have to probably talk about.
But also, it's good for your resume too. It's a resume pattern,
and it's great experience for like I can talk about it on the podcast of what it's like to work in a recreational dispensary, and work in a dispensary in a different state, and also like I can just go stand outside and smoke weed while I am out there.
Yeah. Also, what Ohio weed is like.
Yeah.
Because you and me are planning a trip here to Maryland. here real soon, and we're going to be bringing all of our podcast stuff with us and talking about stuff with us in Maryland.
Yeah, I'm going to find a little campground and camp out and get some weed and see some stuffs and have some fun.
Yeah. So definitely a great experience to kind of like talk about everything that's just like not just a Pennsylvania experience, because we done New Jersey, we talked about Pennsylvania. Definitely want to try New York weed. I definitely want to try other weed from other states still, besides just New Jersey. But definitely try to get that experience of more states and how everything's just because everything's a little different in different ways, and like it'd be great just to try stuff,
Yeah, I know I briefly got to talk about New York weed, but that was like street. It was like legacy market. It was not from anywhere legal.
No, I definitely want to try the legal stuff in New York, but also with the Maryland trip, the one store I want us to go in, they have infused hot chocolate mix.
Ooh.
So I'm bringing our French press that we can go like literally get everything set up over a campfire.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if I just made like infused Dunkachino?
Oh yes, please.
With the coffee.
Oh, you know how much I love cannabis and coffee. Yes, please, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and like it's gonna be great. I am so excited for our little because it's for our anniversary. We're gonna go to Maryland for our anniversary and go camping because this will be the second anniversary we've gone camping in.
Yeah.
Because we like camping.
And we have one of the best anniversaries to go camping. Yes, it is hotter than all get at because it's like the 29th of June. God damn.
Your Pittsburgh came out.
Holy shit. Let me reel that guy back in here real quick.
If you don't understand why I'm laughing is because literally Asmodeus was like, get at. Like,
get at.
AHT. But yeah.
Generally the hottest day of the year, though. June 29th, usually the hottest day of the year. We came out here and we're in the strip, got burnt to crap. The hottest day of the year.
Yeah, it was like 110 almost, or almost 110.
It's fun to just like, I don't know, I love going camping. And like, if it rains, it usually doesn't stay wet for super long and then doesn't get super muggy. Like,
yeah, and we have a really good, easy to set up and break down tent too. It's pretty much just one pole.
And a really good car to pack everything in. And heck, worst case, you just take the air mattress, throw it in the back of the car, and, here you go.
But yeah. If anybody is in Maryland that listens to this podcast, we're going to be going on the more western side of Maryland. So if y'all know any places you think we should go just to visit, dispensary or not, or any restaurants or anything, let us know. We'll definitely, probably hit something up out that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was an article you were thinking about looking at and talking about with like motivation stuff if our cat would stop laying on your phone.
He's literally laying on everything. I moved things so he wouldn't be laying on them, and he's like, oh, you're moving over here, I'm gonna lay on it now. He's trying to eat the microphone earlier. Okay, where is my... Here we go. There's an article I found from High Times. I was just kind of scrolling through my RSS feed. From April 30th from High Times, and the title is Chronic Pot Use Has Minimal Effects on Motivation, Study Shows. And this is big because everybody's like, oh, stoners, you guys are lazy and unmotivated. And I'm like, bitch, now we got to research. So now let's see what this study says.
I also want to put out real fast that the whole going from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 is going to add more higher quantity pools of people to study for research-based studies.
Yeah, it's going to make it so much easier for people to do research. Ultimately, research found that getting high was associated with more positive emotions and fewer negative emotions in consumers, with minimal effects on motivation or objective effort willingness. They also found frequent cannabis use had a lack of, quote, hangover effects.
I mean, that's fair, though, because, like, ever since I've gone on weed with, like, my PTSD, it's helped me do my chores a lot more.
Yeah. It's helped me with my motivation. Like, it's either motivation to do it or a reward for doing my chores.
Yeah, yeah.
Researchers at the University of Toronto conducted the new study published in the journal Social Psychological and Personality Science.
Just went to a temporarily ASMR part of the podcast.
All right.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Red leather, yellow leather, seashells by the it began by noting the increased prevalence of cannabis use today, with nearly 200 million people using it worldwide, and cannabis ranking as the fourth most used recreational drug, following caffeine, alcohol, and tobacco.
I mean, caffeine one, I'm assuming, is number one.
I would assume it was in order of, I would hope it was in order of prevalence, right?
So
like caffeine, alcohol, and then tobacco.
Yeah, no, but that makes sense.
Because tobacco use has gone down in the United States.
True, so it's drinking. Like, Gen Z is actually, as of right now, I think someone posted online that I saw that Gen Z is actually going more and more less alcohol. As a generation, they are drinking less and less. Mm-hmm. Which is really cool, because they see the negative effects of alcoholism from, like, boomers down.
As a zillennial, I have definitely cut back on drinking. I did a lot of it in college, and I think that's also a reason I don't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. I got my fill. I have killed enough of my liver. I actually care about my body now.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I think a lot of it is like health conscious, but like caffeine. Literally, like kids drinking soda. There's caffeine in that. I mean, black tea has caffeine in it.
Yeah. It goes on to say that despite its wide use and increasing legal and societal acceptance, surprisingly little is known about its effects among habitual users in everyday life. Instead, research on cannabis tends to treat it as a drug of abuse, focused mostly on health risks of overuse and dependence, the study reads. Here we focus on what's missing, describing the everyday experience of getting high among habitual users, examining reasons that they get high, and its possible salutary emotional effects, and its surprising lack of costs, motivation, and industriousness. Researchers go on to recognize today's cannabis users come from all walks of life. Everybody uses weed, you know?
Yeah, surprising.
Yeah, crazy. Users are employed, conscientious, and have stable incomes. Crazy, right?
That's the way it's always been.
Despite recent stigmatization, they also recognize plentiful research treats cannabis as a substance involving, quote, substantial risks. Nothing that mixed results surrounding risks of cannabis use may be implied goal of much to the research to reduce use. So, let's see here. It goes on to say...
So they're not telling us anything we don't already
I know.
Right? It's just the more medical and governmental side is like, oh...
Maybe we should actually put this on paper and look at it.
You mean the shit you've been saying for fucking years?
The sample size on this is actually kind of small. It's only 3,701 people.
That's big for a cannabis study, though.
Yeah. Their observations from daily lives, 260 recreational cannabis users. Okay, so it's 3,701 reports from these 260 people about their life. That is still very small. But research sent participants sampling surveys 5 times a day for 7 days, at random times, where they had up to 30 minutes to answer before the link had expired. Surveys asked participants if they currently felt high. If not, filler questions about cannabis cravings. In particular, if they said they were high, they asked how they ingested cannabis and to select the reasons for getting high. The study utilized a modified differential emotion scale to assess the extent participants felt 20 specific emotions, 10 negative and 10 positive. That's nice to have a little scale for people and things to help pinpoint. I feel like that helps a lot. I have a journal that does that.
Yeah.
It makes me more inclined to answer because I have something I feel like I can connect with and say, do I feel like this? Or do I feel like that? Or this might not be it, but then I think of something that's kind of similar, right?
Yeah, kind of similar to how the Drexel study that you and me are proud of.
Yeah. They also asked participants about their current levels of motivation, along with experience sampling survey to measure levels of willpower and conscientiousness. Most participants, 64%, reported feeling high, with smoking being at 54%, vaping at 22%, and edibles at 21% as most common forms of ingestion. You sound like you want to say something.
Yeah, you said willpower, and I was like, all right, so roll for a will save.
The main driving reason to use was liking the feeling of being high, though it increased creativity and forgetting one's worries were also commonly reported. Many people use cannabis to help them focus and concentrate. Yes, say it. Those who felt high reported feeling less fearful and stressed comparing to when they are not. Frequent users reported that being high increases positive emotions, awe, silliness, happiness, and inspiration. However, among cohort, those who got high very frequently reported more negative emotions across the board compared to those who still used frequently but not, quote, exceptionally often, or high on 96% of experienced samples multiple times a day. This is when cannabis studies get real fucking weird. Is as somebody who looks at this kind of shit, like, because I was a sociology major, right? The wording of some of this stuff is really it's fluffy. It gets real fluffy, and it's like, what are you actually trying to say? Because it's like, what is exceptionally often? Because it's in quotations, and it's like, however they're trying to define it, I guess. And I guess you had to, like, I would like to actually see the survey they gave these people so I can see how these people answered in relation to, like, how other questions, like, they answered. Because it's all very, like, this is a very subjective study of, like, how you feel about it.
Yeah, but, like, the big thing also with cannabis is also what are they going through while they're using? Because, like, yes, I'm a long-term frequent user of cannabis, but something recently has been triggering and affecting my PTSD, so I've been feeling a lot more negative emotions. It's not the cannabis that is doing that. It is literally the PTSD and the trauma I've been working on doing that.
And that has been getting worse, so your cannabis use has increased.
Yes, exactly. So it definitely seems more correlation, not causation.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because, like, that's something that needs to be taken into account, because that is, like, more correlation for my experience than causation. That's why I don't talk about a lot of it with the VA, to be honest, because they see that and they think it's causation.
Yes. The same thing with my prescriber of my, he does some good things. He's got me on a good cocktail of medication right now. But when I told him that I was a cannabis user, he thought that it aggravated my bipolar disorder, when there have actually been studies and shit that has come out that says that it does not. Mm-hmm. And then he also thought that it caused my psychoactive features, like my psychotic features, which it does not. Like,
and I'm not going to say 100% it's not going to for everybody. Or
it might exacerbate them. I have noticed more frequently that I might, like, see weird things out of the corner of my eye. I'm also, like, I don't know, I guess more in tune and in the moment with when I'm high, right?
Yeah.
So I notice things more.
You're more hyper aware of when something is. Because there's been times where, like, sober or high, I've mistaken our coat rack for a person, and it makes me jump a little.
Scares crap out of us, yeah.
And that just might be, like, because that might be because we drop, we have trauma and everything. So sorry, I am stuttering a little bit. That we have trauma. So it's just something like we see something out of the corner of our eye and we don't immediately recognize it, so it makes us jumpy.
And the brain does that too, just to keep you protected. It protects why you get startled, is to be like, oh, I'm ready in case this is it.
Yeah.
Going on in the study, there were mixed results surrounding conscientiousness, and that getting high, quote, very frequently was associated with, quote, mostly small yet robust reductions in people's conscientious behaviors and traits. Still, they noted that chronic users are no less responsible or industrious than those who use cannabis less frequently.
I'm sorry, but, like, I can literally do taxes high off my gourd and blast it as fuck. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's not really, like, yeah, you can get to the point where, like, you're just so blasted, you're just like, you know what, I'm going to bed. But, like, I don't think there's nowhere, if I'm comparing it to alcohol, the effects on my cognitive functions, or, like, how my brain works, how, like, I'm able to, like, focus and, like, talk about things, alcohol is way worse on that.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like for me too, like, and motivation-wise, definitely alcohol inhibits my motivation. Do I want to be productive? Do I want to do anything? Absolutely not.
No. And that's the thing, is, like, alcohol for me is just more like, no, I don't want to. I'd rather sit here and watch funny cartoons and eat popcorn. I still want to do that while I'm high, but I got my chores done, and now I can do that because I have free time.
Exactly. With alcohol, it's like, no, I'm just going to drink and watch this movie instead of do anything.
Possibly throw up.
Yeah, and good thing I had the mop bucket out. Even now, I'm not going to mop the floor. I'll use it for something else, The research can... Huh?
Get a bucket and a mop.
Okay, I need to stop singing that song or we're going to have to pay rights. Little evidence, quote, of association between cannabis use and lack of motivation. So they actually did say that they found... What the fuck was that?
Probably our neighbors.
Jesus. Keep forgetting we have neighbors now. Pardon me. Backing up. Researchers said they found little evidence for association between being high and lack of motivation among cannabis users. When frequent cannabis users get high, in other words, they are no more apathetic or less extrinsically or intrinsically motivated to pursue their goals, researchers said. They are, however, slightly less motivated to do things when they are high because they would be upset with themselves if they did not do them. Even those who got high, quote, very frequently or multiple times per day were no less motivated than those who got high multiple times per week. In fact, researchers note that they were sometimes more motivated. Easy.
It's almost like terpinolene exactly does that.
Almost like that's why I use cannabis first thing in the morning. It gets me going and motivated.
Why there's a wake and bake thing.
Yeah, right? That's why I like weed and coffee together so much. It also touched on the, quote, weed hangover. The effects of being high on the last completed survey of the day was not related to emotions on the first completed survey of the next day. There were also no significant effects of feeling high on the last survey of current levels of motivation or willingness, both within and across days.
Okay, but can I talk about weed hangover real quick?
Yeah.
Like, I get that really bad, and I think some of our patients do really bad with, like, higher levels of, like, if they're going a little too strong for them with, like, ingestibles.
Mm-hmm.
Because they talk about how they feel groggy and slow the next morning, and it's almost like they're in their fog, and I'm like, that sounds like how I get, and I think that's a weed hangover. Because it's kind of similar to an alcohol. You just have a little bit too much, and your body's like, oh... It's okay. We're still processing this.
Yeah, your body's still like, we're trying to get back to whatever we think normal is, our homeostasis. Well, it take us a little longer, you know. But yeah, no, I definitely, the first time I've done ingestibles, like, period, when I first did RSO at night to try to help me sleep, slept through so many alarms, felt so groggy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was me, because, like, so this happened once and someone complained and got, like, really upset, even though we told them, hey, this is how high of a dose. I would not recommend this with you being your first time taking ingestibles. And they're like, well, I smoked for years. I'm like, okay, but your body breaks down and it hits your bloodstream differently between inhalation and ingestion. And they got a little too zoinked and complained to our corporate, and now we have to tell everybody when it's like, hey, this is a high dosage, just so you're aware. This is a higher dose. You might, and that's why I'm like, know your dosage and start low and slow, everybody. If you're going to do anything ingestible, know the dose, know how much you're taking, and go low and slow. That's why I tell people every time, if they don't know, I'm going to start them on the lowest. I don't care if they've had like it for years or they've done it for years. If they don't know their dosage, we're going to start at the lowest. Like, if you're like, we don't have to go to 5 milligrams if you don't want to. We can start at 10s, but we're going to start low. I'm not going to give you the 50s right off the goddamn back if you don't know your dosage.
No.
I'm sorry, that was a weird tangent for a minute. I do apologize.
It's all good. The study went on, other than a small reduction in people doing things to avoid feeling upset with themselves, that's called introjected motivation. When chronic users got high, they were no more motivated, no less motivated for extrinsic or intrinsic reasons, and no less willing to objectively push themselves. So likewise, people who get high very frequently, for example, daily, are not less motivated dispositionally than those who also get high frequently, but relatively less frequently, like weekly. Okay. If anything, they're more motivated, at least for external and introjected reasons. So basically, I'm going to do this because I don't want to be upset with myself, or I'm going to do this because, they said for internal, external. So like it needs to be done, or I'm obliged to do something.
Yeah, but also take it into account like pain relief with this kind of stuff. Like there's people who used to love running and everything, and they can't because of an injury or something, and they use cannabis to help with their chronic pain. And guess what? Now they're motivated to start running again and start exercising again. So, like, that's also something I think that needs to be addressed with these kind of studies, is that what was the block for the motivation and what is being affected to help bring back motivation for certain people.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add from the thingy?
Let's see here. No, it's just the end of it. It's like, oh yeah, cannabis is becoming more popular, and we expect like studies like this to become more prevalent and relevant and like frequent. And I'm like, good. I hope so. We need more of them.
We do, and that's the one out of everything going on with the schedule change of cannabis, and this is all just ifs, what ifs with the DEA, because they say they plan to. They could at the last second still say, no. And just keep it the way it is. But it allows for more research to be done, and that, I think, is a good thing and a baby step, but it still needs to be completely descheduled.
Yes. And it needs to just legalize it. With all the songs and poets and artists and cannabis lovers of the centuries that we've been using it have been saying, just legalize it.
But, like, that's the thing, too, is, like, it was legal for so long, and then all of a sudden, prohibitionists are like, well, we lost the control of alcohol, and I don't want to lose my job, and I didn't want to be a curmudgeon. Hey, I'm racist. Let's use cannabis.
Yeah.
And then Nixon made it worse, and then Reagan just threw gasoline on that fire. Ugh.
I'm going to smoke a joint on their grave and take a picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there anything you want to add before we end this episode?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I feel like it was a good episode.
It really was. We had to use Spotify again, so the audio may be weird. I'm going to try fixing it, but in case it is a little weird, I do apologize.
We're also recording on the mobile.
Yeah, because Spotify was just not working at all on the computers. So, if this keeps up, we may be going to a different way of recording and hosting and everything. Hopefully Riverside will get better with the apps. But, I do apologize for last week, or the last episode, because it was a little wonkier, but I'm going to try fixing this as best as I can. Do you have any, like, Skittles of the week? I'm going to try getting that back into that.
Think so?
No. Let's have some Skittles for the next episode.
Okay, yeah, I can look up and we can look at some stuff and see.
All right. I actually, you know what? I do have a Skittle. So on my Rainbow Veteran TikTok, I've been dealing and interacting with a lot of people. There was this guy whose business is called the Combat Clock. And well, he does have like the thin blue line for like cops. He also has like the green line for military, the yellow for like dispatchers, or I think it's the red for firefighters, and whatever ones for like EMTs.
Mm-hmm.
With the clocks, every purchase, doesn't matter what kind it is, $22 gets donated to the American Legion. And he goes live on TikTok, and if he's just doing a regular live where he's like, hey, look, I'm making this stuff, here's just like pretty much spreading the word of what he does. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the blue line, but the fact that he donates to like the American Legion and everything to help veterans and help with like veteran suicide and everything, I think is a really good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to shout him out because he does that, and he'll do like once a month he'll go live, and all the money that is generated through that live goes to the American Legion. And when he just does his normal lives, like half of it goes to just supplies for the Combat Clock, and then the rest of it goes to the American Legion.
Nice.
So I wanted to shout him out. On TikTok, it's at the Combat Clock. I'll put it in the show notes. But, yeah. So once again, my name is Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Asmodeus. I use they, them pronouns.
And this has been another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
Bye.